My name is Jane Dickey, and I, along with about 6 other folk, are part of a steering committee who are going to be listening to the things that you are interested in and the things that are important to you today. This is a smaller group than we're used to. There are a number of reasons for that, but I think of it as a faithful remnant. We can do mighty things. So I'm so glad that you're here. So tonight's meeting, I'm going to give you an overview of the meeting structure. How many of you in the room are new to coming to Indivisibles tonight? Are there several? Okay, so you've all been to other Indivisible events then? Fantastic. Okay. So just as a quick reminder of what we stand for, I think it's important for us to remember what we're doing and what we believe. And so because we believe that people power is what democracy is. Because of that, we show up. Here you are. We stand up and we speak up. We are the Saugatuck Douglas Area Indivisibles, a local, nonpartisan grassroots group, part of the national indivisible movement of millions of everyday people working to protect and strengthen our democracy. We believe that when people come together, as we are doing tonight, that real change is possible. There is strength in numbers. We welcome new voices and grow stronger as we organize across communities. We unite across our differences to protect and strengthen a democracy that truly works for everyone. We stand against authoritarianism, and we've seen so much of that in the last few weeks. We stand for our Constitution. We fight for progressive policies and support leaders who reflect and share our values. The National Indivisible strategy is organized around 4 particular strategic approaches. One is to disrupt. Strategic acts to support disobedience and peaceful protest of unjust policy. Some of you have already done that. Protect people. Minimize harm to targeted people and build resources for sustainable support. Defend civic institutions to safeguard democracy. And 4, to build alternatives, to support parallel institutions, alternative party platforms, and culture building. So tonight, the approach tonight is to listen to the things you've already said to us in a survey and to listen to things you might want to share with us tonight. We'll begin with thinking about the urgency of this moment and a synopsis of what currently is in the news, a reminder of why we come together. And Christy Allen will be introducing that. And I think that we will make that a regular part of our meetings where we say what has happened in the last week, what's happened in the last 2 weeks, what needs to be forefront in our minds. The next thing we'll do is we will listen to you, to those of you who filled out our survey. And there were 40 folks who did that and came up with very, very important feedback. We'll share that with you. Actions that we're taking. We're going to talk a little bit about the actions as an organization based on your feedback. And then we're going to open it up for comments and questions. And this is going to be very open-ended. Things that are on your mind, things you'd like to see us do, things that you're hoping will happen. We're welcoming any kind of input that you might have there. Then we'll talk about immediate actions you can take. So you'll leave tonight with some very clear, immediate things that you can choose to do. And there'll be a wide variety because we have different skill sets, different abilities, and we'll share those together. So Christy Allen is going to begin with the urgency of this moment. So Christy, if you want to step up.
All right, let's just rip off the Band-Aid. So the big, terrible, horrible, no good, very bad bill was passed and signed. I know this isn't breaking news to anyone, but many of us have had to probably check out a little bit and alternate between a little bit of rage, a little bit of grief, and probably some mix of both. Same here, it's been quite the mood killer. So rather than reiterate every detail of what's in this bill and why it's awful, let's shift our focus to what we can do. First, we need to consider the timing of the cuts in the bill. This is something that the MAGA strategy depends on. Medicaid work rules, food aid restrictions, clean energy credit eliminations, student loan changes, affordable housing cuts, and rural hospital funding declines are all set to phase in around late 2026. And what major national event happens right before they will all phase in? Midterm elections. So there's your answer. MAGA politicians and the Republicans who have backed this know how harmful these cuts will be, especially for their own voter base. Many of them are already anxious about how it will impact their re-election chances. They're counting on us being overwhelmed, divided, scared, and tuned out. But here's the good news. We now have a clear strategy. We must focus our time, our energy, and our resources on flipping the House and the Senate. We'll also be electing a new governor, a Secretary of State, and an Attorney General. And after we all heard Attorney General Dana Nessel speak, I think we've all seen how critical the role in defending democracy an Attorney General can have. We will also have an open United States Senate seat and a chance to finally vote out Representative Bill Huizenga. So, something that I cued in by finding some little threads, we must be ready for the GOP's next move. It is the revival of some version of the SAVE Act, under the guise of protecting elections from non-citizen voters. But the Heritage Foundation, their own conservative think tank, found only 23 instances of non-citizen voting from 2003 to 2022. It's a made-up crisis. The real motive? The Republican Party is hemorrhaging women voters, and the Gen Z women want nothing to do with them either. So they're going to try to create paperwork, financial hurdles, and legal barriers to voting. They're hoping to keep young women home and marginalized voters home too in 2026. We can't let that happen. So what can you do? You can inform your friends and family. Tell them what to look for. Apply pressure to your representatives when we start seeing it come up. Pay attention and push back. And now for a little light in all the darkness. Elon Musk, after yet another fallout with his best friend Trump, is launching and funding the America First Party. So why would that be good news? Enter the Ross Perot factor. In 1992, Perot siphoned off a few Democrat but mostly conservative votes, helping Bill Clinton to win. Musk's party could split the GOP even more dramatically, peeling away disillusioned MAGA voters and dividing the right. Trump's base is showing cracks. Many MAGA voices are angry, questioning their leadership, and even agreeing with unlikely figures on podcasts like Pete Buttigieg and Bernie Sanders. They're furious about United States involvement in new wars and the mysterious vanishing of the Epstein client list. And Musk is tapping right into that anger. Yes, there is a lot to worry about right now. When you're thinking about how angry you are about the Baldwin ICE facility, call your representatives. When you see how these program cuts will hit your own families, tell your story and call again. As Dana Nessel reminded us, public pressure works. But changing the direction of our country means we can't just vote this time. We need to show up. Yes, even if that means stepping out of our comfort zones and even knocking some doors. Staying comfortable is how we got here right now. Feeling powerless and confused is part of their strategy. So grieve. Take the time and grieve. Get angry. Let yourself feel it. And then Get moving. Talk with your friends and neighbors. Help them put a human face to what these policies really mean, and prepare to get involved in the midterm elections. This is a long game, and it starts right now. Most importantly, remember that you are not alone. Remember the large protest across our country, something we have never seen before. We will work through this together, and I truly believe that we can change the course of our country for the better in ways we can't even imagine yet, because we're just getting started. So don't let them grind you down, because we have a country to save.
Erin, can the Zoom people stand a little applause? Okay. Okay. All right. Yay. Thank you, Christy. Thank you so much. I think you not only brought home the clarity of what has to be done, but also what possibly we can do. So we were curious about what you, the members, felt and wanted to see happen. We thought it was important to do a survey. So let me see. So you spoke and we listened, and some of you I know did not have a chance to fill out this survey. So I'm very interested in your looking at the results and seeing if you see yourself in them. And if not, be sure that you come and speak and say something when it's time to share our own thoughts with each other. The feedback summary is going to give key insights and recommendations based on the things that you came up with. Okay, so yeah, next slide. Why we sought feedback and how we did it. So we're a new young organization. We're only about 5 months old, and yet a lot has happened. A lot has been done in this short time. We're all in this together. And the statement that we need to think globally and nationally and act locally couldn't be more true now. What's wonderful is to know that other people are acting locally in their own communities and seeing what they're doing and pulling together to know you are not alone. There's a website, I don't know if we're going to bring it up later, called Smile. If you can find Smile, do it. It gives you all the good news of things that have happened across the country as we are working toward making change. So the method that we used was this survey that was available from the website. It was up for about 1 month, and we sent out some email reminders. 40 people responded, and the comments and suggestions were really good and helpful. So those of you who did have a chance to do that, thank you very much. The results. So the first one, why members joined. And I'd like you to think for just one moment about what brought you here tonight and previously, because many of you have been to other things. Just think about it. Okay, let's see what survey said. Number one, and they're in the order of the frequency, concern about Trump administration. The policies grow more dangerous every day. The second is the urgency for collective organized action. We are better together, and you all know that. The desire to do something tangible, effective, and not just symbolic. Although I want to speak up a little bit for symbolism too. Sometimes doing something symbolic actually motivates and encourages other folk as well. Political and personal motivations. These often related to interactions with people's own families and the difficulty that they saw of what was happening and the way the things were being split apart and the depression that people felt in this moment. Value in local and national connections. Staying connected was particularly important. The policies, let's see. One of the things that about the danger that people feel and concern about the Trump administration was brought home to me today in a conversation with a young Latina mother of 3, a friend of mine. And this is what she said to me. She said, "We learned in school about the Holocaust. And I remember thinking, we all thought that was Germans. The Germans, that happened a long time ago, the Germans did that. And not thought for a moment that anything like that could happen here." And she said, from her point of view, from her Latina community, it's happening here now. So seeing that what's happening is actually a Gestapo that's rounding people up and throwing them into dangerous situations, literally concentration camps. And that's what she said. And then she said something that continued to bring tears to my eyes. It was something on the order of, why don't people like brown people? I think that is how it's hitting people today in our community, in our neighborhoods. So we know that that's why we joined. So what were some member expectations? Think about what you expect and what you'd like to see happen. So what did you say to us in the survey? The desire for community and connection, the demand for direction and action, access to information, urgency and political motivation, and positive feedback and encouragement. And I think noticing that people needed positive encouragement is so important as well. Christy ended with this about the need to be positive about what we do. How did you feel about the meetings so far? Nope, there's the meeting so far. So think about what you're thinking about right now, possibly. The majority attended past meetings. Thank you for your investment, the people who responded to the survey. They said that they loved the positive energy and organization noted. And it's important, too, to remember this positive energy, what I was just saying. Those of you who were at the Nestle event, remember one of the things she said that of her 9 reactions was, we have to keep the joy. So there has to be some joy as well. And the request for more structure and more action-oriented formats. Future meeting preferences, and this was pretty easy. People wanted a mix of in-person and virtual. So greetings to those on Zoom right now. Thank you for being here. They wanted monthly large meetings such as we're having tonight. And the best days, most people said, were Tuesday to Thursday. Best times were from what we're doing now, like 7 to 8:30 in the evening. Event and volunteer preferences. What did people want to get involved with? There was a high interest in protests. And people often ask, what difference does a protest make? So what you're standing there? People say this a lot. Have you heard this? What difference do you make if you stand on a street corner or you stand on a bridge and you wave a sign? I have 2 responses to that. The first comes from A.J. Musty, who actually graduated from Hope College, who actually taught MLK about nonviolent direct action. He was a lifelong resistor of wars. And at one point, he was standing in front of the White House with a sign, all alone, and it was raining. And somebody walked by and said, what do you think you're going to do? Do you think you're going to change the government? His response was, I do this so the government won't change me. So one reason I think we protest is because we're saying, this is where I stand. This is what matters to me. The second reason came to me at the last protest I was at. The feeling of people all together, our signs, people honking. And I thought, this is really, I am not alone. We are in this together. Look at all these people, young, old, people of color, white folk, all together. And we were there with our signs and making a statement. And it took me to my thoughts in the last election when I wondered, what the hell is Trump doing, having these big rallies? What's the point of that? He's not telling us anything he's going to do. And I realized the people, some of those people went to every rally. The people who go to those realized that they weren't alone. There was power in numbers. They felt empowered. We can take a little bit of that lesson, I think, and give ourselves possibilities and places to be empowered in that way. Interest in smaller volunteer groups and bi-weekly or monthly meetings. We have discussion groups coming up. Watch for this, a good place to be together and meet together and plan actions. Creative and community-focused events are valued. And a shout out tonight to Dawn Stafford, whose incredible creative energy on the SOS Democracy float and poster sessions all who turned out, there were about 40 of us ready to march on the parade in the 4th of July parade. It began to rain, and we were standing, we were laughing, we were soaking wet, we were just having the greatest time. And if you go to the website, you can see some pictures. There is one picture. Is the other picture coming, or did we see it already? So let's go back to that one. So one of my personal favorites was the emperor who had no clothes, because as soon as it started to rain, his bodysuit got transparent. Oh, what a good spirit he had. Okay, there were strategic priorities in the short term: building awareness and improving communication. The medium term supporting candidates. Chrissy brought that up, and rapid organization. What are we going to do if ICE comes here? Are we going to be organized for such events? Listen carefully later in the meeting to some of the ideas about that. Long-term electoral strategies and systemic reforms. And broad support suggestions: enhance communication, emails, social media, clarify roles and provide action steps. Is this the one that is? Oh, maybe not. Okay. Onboarding and member liaison for engagement. And recommended actions. This one has a special element, you'll discover. Monthly in-person meetings, start regular newsletters and summaries, create small action teams by interest, hold strategic planning sessions. And I gave it a swirly. I think did you see it? And that was my attempt to keep the joy going. So Pam Mulliner is now going to come up, and she will continue to lead most of this meeting on strategies and the things that we're going to try to do.
Hi, everyone. So we heard you. And we took this to heart, tried to do a little bit of strategic planning on our own, but we needed feedback from all of you as well. But we are starting to work on our vision and a mission statement, and our vision right now is to activate our community on a local level to impact the national tipping point of getting to 3.5% of our population engaged in sustained, peaceful resistance to enable change. So we want, and we're really promoting stand up, show up, and speak up. So that's what we have for our vision and mission so far. We're organizing our activities around 4 pillars: activation, education, and holding leaders accountable, and protecting people. And reorganizing around events and activities. When we first started, we had the steering committee, plus we had maybe 15 or 20 different groups. And we quickly realized that that was a bit too much to spread. So we decided to come back and think about trying to organize more around events and activities. So our goals are to motivate people towards effective activism, develop effective communication tools to move in unison to important actions. And this number 2, what we're planning to do is, we're adding to improve our communications, we're going to have an about. I think Aaron might have already put an about us page on our website, but we want to, we have a contact us page. A way that we can be more transparent. We're planning to put our minutes out there, and a way that you can voice your opinions back to us. And then we've already started the weekly newsletter, and so you can become involved at any level that's right for you. And I'm sure Aaron could use help with that as well. The 3rd point is unify the community and build relationships. And the 4th one is provide opportunities for participation for different levels of experience or engagement. We still need everyone's help in some way by organizing around these events. So we're going to need the writers and the artists and the news hawks and the safety people and all the people that are in those original groups, but it'll just be in a different way. For example, we are looking for people with project management or event planning skills.
So if anybody has that skill or knows of someone that has that skill, we would love to have them talk to us. We have a request for someone that wants to take over organizing the Heisinger protests. So that's another one. We want to have our own events that we want to promote as well. And then rapid response team that we're trying to put together. There'll be probably a separate training that's going to be based around that, trying to help people that are in our immigrant population. So the type of actions that we're having is organizational meetings. We're going to have the steering committee meetings we're currently meeting weekly, and then these monthly meetings. And then our educational meetings, like we had the Dana Nessel, and we're going to have other meetings like that, civic education, event safety. We're going to do protests so we can share our dissent. We're going to have rallies, and we want to try to build this relationship with the community by having picnics and family gatherings and things like that. And of course, we're going to try to get out the vote. Lisa's been doing the postcard writing. We'll have canvassing later on as those things become more important. And then our monthly meeting, we wanted to change the format of that. So, it's going to be based on the 4 pillars again, but the education, what has happened since we last met, and I'm hoping that Christy will continue to do that. What have we accomplished since then, and what are we working on? And then activation, the opportunities to get involved for everyone. And then we hope to have more feedback and discussion with our members. So there's a lot of different ways that you guys can get involved. And right now, we're going to ask for your feedback on this plan and the survey notes that Jane presented. And if you would just raise your hand, then someone will come by with a microphone and you can share with us these ideas. And then afterwards, we'll tell you more about some activities that you can get involved with to help. Thank you.
Oh, okay, right. Okay. I don't have my feedback yet, but I just wanted to add that one of the main reasons that I protest is because I know that gives other people the license, or that empowers other people who see it, who either see it in some media, or they're driving by, or they're walking by. That empowers lots of other people who are too afraid when they see just average old me out there. Then they're going to be more likely. So.
Oh, okay. He did it first. Yeah. Oh, just a quick one. They did do a survey over countries that were taken over by authoritarian guys. It's always guys. Sorry. Um, uh, and they said that when people showed up to protest just in numbers, those were the countries where it didn't take, because there was such an overwhelming demonstration against it. So that's why I protest. I don't like crowds, but I'll show up for these protests because it matters that you do show up, and it shows that it counts. So power to the people.
Yeah.
I forgot what I wanted to say. I really appreciate the time and energy it took to read everything that people gave and then condense it down. And I'm going to ask if it might not be a good idea to condense it down a little more and say, these are the first 3 or 5 items we're going to tackle right now. And then maybe a subset, 2 or 3, and maybe you're already got that going that I just don't know about yet, but just an idea.
Hi. At first, I wanted to just say that I think the membership and the board, if it's still called the board, and the steering committee, I don't know what all the names are for the organization, and the membership in general, should really take a bit of time to realize how much we've accomplished and what a great job they've actually done. We wouldn't be here to redo this. We wouldn't have the strength to do this if there wasn't a good job that's already been done. Now, that doesn't mean we can't be better. I also have to kind of take a step back and say that I was the leader of am the leader of the News Hawks group, and some of the group is here. But I wanted to speak for what we came away with recently when you were looking for the survey responses. And what we came up with, they felt that the organization needed to develop and adopt goals that were clearly communicated to the volunteer group so that we could formulate some kind of action plan. So we really felt a strong need to know what the goals were of the organization, what was going to happen, and how we can contribute to them. Then importantly, how we could formulate some action that we thought would be valuable to the steering committee or the board so that they, with their knowledge of the finances, timing, things like that, of what was really possible for the organization to do and get it on the books so that we could do something with a goal in mind, work toward it, and actually see what we accomplish. That leads to obviously analyzing what we actually did accomplish, whether this effort worked, whether it didn't, whether we need to retool what we're doing to become more effective. Because ultimately what happened with many of the News Hawks group was they're a very passionate group. There were 17 of us. And I met some wonderful people, and they were doing a lot of things about things that interested them personally, their families, also things that just irk them in the news. I mean, we get that all the time. So we were tasked with encapsulating those news items so that they could be added to the website. Okay. That was great for a while, but then it became evident to many of the members that, you know, we all get inundated with the news. We get that already. So many ended up feeling that their passions for it were not matched to the work. Okay, so they basically felt like we weren't really doing that much. Okay, so I guess ultimately when it came down to it, what we thought would be best for the group and for the organization was to, and you kind of alluded to it, I don't know who mentioned it, if it was Jane or reducing some of the groups, combining groups so that there was more dynamic to the people and more interest in what they could do, and it would be more rewarding for volunteers and also enhance what the value that we bring to the organization itself. I think that all hinges back on how well the organization is able to articulate what our goals are, set the goals, measure the goals, and get that to the membership so that there can be communication. There is a missing link, I feel, with the communication. You know, how do we, as members, communicate to what the board has to really determine can be done, and back and forth, how that's really done. That seems to be missing. And I'd like to see that. But anyway, Yahoo, we're here.
Yeah, I get my steps in.
Is that about right? Okay. Right. I'm a history student by history. And I know probably many of you have read that book by Timothy Snyder on tyranny. I read that book and it has to do with how I handle the news. And I just see so many connections between what's happening with what has happened historically when democracies fail. And, you know, I have some people say, oh, you know, you're catastrophizing or whatever. But I just feel it's really important that we don't get used to things. And so I'm probably going to peel out of here at about 7:45 because I'm going to go to an online book group discussing that book. But I'm thinking that it might be helpful for people who really want to track the news with a big picture, that it would be good to have a discussion of that book. And maybe there are other books on freedom. Same, oh, Timothy Snyder, who is, by the way, immigrated to Canada now.
Okay, now you're going to hear from a retired history teacher, everything from African American to world geography. I'm convinced that the people who are going to be most affected by this grand disaster have no idea what's coming. Let's be honest. They don't listen to NPR and watch PBS. They don't read the New York Times. Fox News is not telling them anything about this. Of course, how do I know about Fox News? I don't have it. I think there are some cuts that have already been made that we can use to publicize. Has there been cuts to public education? Didn't I see there was a pullback of $9 billion? Is that correct? What about cuts to libraries? What about cuts to museums? These are all things that are going to affect people. We don't have to wait until after the midterms. You have to hand it to the Republicans. They got something, you know, I'm not going to say right, but there's some things that we can use. We need to get people who are involved in some of these communities. Now churches can, according to the Supreme Court, I don't exactly like that idea, but the right information coming out could be useful. Also, let's support some candidates. I think Jessica, she has a good chance next year. And if we can support her with money. Oh, Jessica Schwartz, she ran against Huizenga last November. She called me many months before the election. I've been around this area for a long time. My late father said the Republicans could elect a dead dog in Allegan County. And you know what? I think that was probably true. Times are changing. If we can get Jessica elected, that would be a major step.
I did want to say something. Yeah. Just one more thing about the protests that Aaron told me. Is that the last protest that you went to? You said that people were asking you about the signs, and it was an education to them because it was like, what's this about? What's this about? You know, what are all these signs about? And so she told me that. She goes, well, they didn't know that their hospitals were going to be cut because of the cuts to Medicaid. People don't know. These protests are, that's why I show up, because it, you know, all the signs that you see, you know, that it's amazing how much people don't know and how many different issues there are because we're being bombarded with so many. So I just wanted to say that that's, if you feel like you're not making a difference, you really are. And the more that we do this, the more the people are going to say, oh, why are these people out on the bridge? Why are they lined up along 8th Street in Holland? Why are they doing that? And then they start reading the signs. And there was a guy that had a big flag that he was walking through the protest sign. He was from the other side, but he had the freedom to do that. We don't have the freedom to do that to their side. So I just think what we're doing, just that we show up, is very important, and to have this base that shows up when we need you to. So thanks.
Hi, my name's Bob Wood. I live in Spring Lake and I teach in Lviv. Some of you might have been at the Saugatuck brewery when we had conversations with Ukraine 2.5 years ago. And I'm still in Ukraine and I'm teaching at Ukrainian Catholic University. I sent an email to Pam. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I just have a couple of things. Number one, you guys are just so well organized. I mean, you guys are so well organized. The things that you're saying, that you're listening to people, the comments that are coming out here, this is just really, really impressive. I came back for the summer. I'll go back in August, and my goal was to go to as many Indivisibles as I could go to. So I have been to Muskegon. I've been to the Muskegon Breakoff. I've been to Grand Havens. I'm going to go to Hollands. I came here. I've worked with the Rapid Response group in Grand Rapids, and I have a thought on that. But I just want to say, you guys are so well organized, and you're saying the right things, and you're right about numbers. And when I'm over in Ukraine and we're watching the news and we're seeing the streets of Georgia or the streets of Moldova and the numbers of people piling out, numbers matter, bodies matter. And that's really, really important. Rapid response. My goal when I came back this summer, I've been back for 2 weeks, was to listen, to hear. I prayed when I was over. I don't pray. I wished when I was over in Ukraine that there was grassroots things happening. And I know they are. I can see that they are. And they are all over. And that's really, really, really important. The rapid response group in Grand Rapids is dynamite. They're really good. I went to a rapid response workshop in Grand Haven. It was 2.5 hours long. And these guys have been doing this since 2017. So they did it when Trump came around the first time, and they do a good job. They do a real good job. They have question and answer. They have role playing. They really know what they're doing. And so I have been going down to their, I've been on actions with them. And I just really trust what they're doing. And I think it would be really cool if you guys got them in here. And I think that you would find that it would be useful for some of you, not for everybody. Secondly, in regard to the rapid response, I think if you're going to go the next step, that individuals in these separate groups need to meet. You need to have the whole idea that's floating out here is a rapid response on the lakeshore. Well, that only is going to happen if this kind of organization and communication extends to Muskegon and to Holland and to Grand Haven from Saugatuck. And you guys need to sit down, not on Zoom. You need to sit down and hammer it out. That's really, really, really important. Grand Rapids, there's some people floating around out there that thinks that Grand Rapids is going to organize the lakeshore. They're not gonna. I've asked them, and that's not their goal. Their goal is to come out and do the workshops and then hand it off. And the only way that happens is if you guys work with the different groups on the lake shore, because none of the single groups has enough manpower to pull it off on their own. Plus, you're too far away from different places. And so you have to be rapid. And with $180 billion dedicated to immigration, it's coming. And there's a tidal wave. It makes me sound like it feels like Japan when that tidal wave came in. It's coming. It's going to get uglier. And I learned this at the rapid response, that there's three points in the Michigan area where individuals can go and they get their immigration they get their immigration updates. It was Detroit and Chicago only. Now it's Detroit, Chicago, and Grand Rapids. So there is a lot happening.
So do you have a final comment for me?
No, that's fine. What else do I have to say? No, just keep doing anything I can do to help. Yeah, yeah.
And thank you for everything. Due to the talk you gave at HASP last year, I've been working with a scientist in Kyiv weekly for the past year, and it's been one of the best experiences I've had in a long time. So thank you for your work at Catholic University. When I checked with Rapid Response, their Facebook page says that they will only come to a community that has been asked by a local Latino community to take action. If that's true, then how do we find the community that needs help? I've been to La Houppe, I've been to Lighthouse, and they're under the radar at this point. Because the tsunami hasn't come, I think they're a little afraid to be above the radar.
I know a lot of people in the Latino community, so that's not a problem. Yep. Okay.
Maybe go to someone who hasn't spoken.
Okay.
You know, I feel like we get out with the protests and we've got these fabulous signs. And then when the protest is over, I never see another sign anywhere. And I often think to myself, why can't we be like Burma Shave, you know, get and have our signs really out there and actually make professional signs, get signs with issues on them and really get them around. People have to see it. I think good theater. I think of Linda being Lady Liberty. I think that I thought to myself, I think I'd like to get a friend, dress in all black, get a billy club and handcuffs and walk through the streets with my friends behind me with a sign saying, "Who's next?"
Talk about that.
Well, I will later.
Okay.
Anybody else?
I was just thinking, I was a little disappointed to see the small number of people here tonight because of the crowds we've had before. But then what struck me is we get all those reminders about these meetings and how to prepare for the meeting, and get the reminder that says, share this with a friend, send this email reminder about the meetings. And I felt bad I didn't do that this time. And so maybe that's a reminder not to just let it go out that one time, but we could be more inclusive and reach out to more people we know to come to these events, because they are getting more organized and better run and more hopeful.
Anybody else? Back.
Just as a resource, because we don't have the rapid action response quite yet, if you would like, there are on the little global prayer table over here some of the pocket-size red cards of Know Your Rights. On one side it's in Spanish, the other side it's in English. So if you know someone or know someone who knows someone who is vulnerable to being detained, pick some of these up and get them, slide them their way. It couldn't help to make sure that people know their rights in escalated moments when they might be very scared.
This will be quick and maybe a little granular for this meeting. I've taken off my safety vest because I don't want to insult the other people on the safety committee by speaking for them. There's been a lot of conversation, a lot of really anguish about the bridge demonstrations and the safety hazards involved. And I think I have a mitigating suggestion to make. If we moved the bridge demonstration 200 yards to the south, we would mitigate the major risk of it, which is the confinement. And having said that, as a segue to what Carol said, I think we should think about whether we should be doing that a lot, not just having a demonstration every month. But even if it's 50 people or 30 people, the more often we do that, the more often that 1,500 people an hour that goes past Blue Star, the more impact we're going to have. So that's all I got to say. Thank you.
I'm not quite so careful as Patrick. I'm leaving my vest on. So this is a question. Is somebody from the leadership, they're going to speak about the opportunities that are available in the back? Or should I? Okay.
Hi, I'm Hector. I'm just gonna not talk about SDA stuff, but Common Defense is our group for veterans across Michigan. We're about to formalize our group in the state of Michigan. We added 6 great veterans in in the last week, despite this 4th of July being a pretty rough weekend, even for the veterans. We had 2 guys go to speak at the the funeral for democracy, and that really, the bad news came out. But we're getting people who are actually good at doing things. And I think a lot of them are in different parts of the state. And the real challenge, when I filled out my form for the strategy, my short term, midterm, and long term was survive. And that means building community and getting to know each other and unifying, because we're called indivisible. And that means unity. So I have a young veteran going to Kalamazoo today or last night to ask that dumb question: we're indivisible, where's our unity? I think there are a couple things that happened really well. There was a team that put together a protest for rural hospitals up in Carson City. That whole thing went together in 8 days and went up there. And these comments we heard about, the people of Carson City have no idea their hospital is going to close. But we need to do more work to put together a toolkit to get that going all over Michigan. They want the veterans to come to Lapeer. I said, okay, Lapeer, you guys do a protest at your rural hospital and I'll send the veterans over there. But you're going to help do these hospital things first. So I think as a group, you got to think about Saugatuck, what assets we have here. We have art, we have clever people, we have professionals. We do have a place where hundreds of thousands of people drive through every day, and maybe they should see Indivisible brand while they're driving through here. But I think also helping other groups and being part of the larger group is pretty important. We heard it on the call today with Ezra and Lee. If a protest happens in the forest, did it exist? So we got to do more than just have events for ourselves, but understand we're part of a much broader team. And I think the veterans, like a lot of people want me to run the veterans group. I'm not going to run the veterans group. A younger person is going to do it, and we're going to mentor the younger veterans, and they're going to run things. All right. And that's what we need to do to broaden to give people, as this psychologist says, as people come around the fringe of the reality that they've made a mistake supporting Trump. You know, we're not going to flip the believers, but the people on the edge, we got to give them a safe place to land. Okay? And so when they showed up, these meetings, there's been a lot of them show up here in at different meetings. I've all been all over West Michigan. And a lot of times people show up, but we don't need to hit them in the head with some issue that they're not ready for. Do you understand what I'm saying? We got to give them a safe place where they can avoid shame and forgiving themselves, but give them a place to land, right? That's what I say.
In terms of feedback, I think something that I'm feeling and personally, and maybe it's just me, but I really want more of a sense of urgency. And I like hearing about the idea of getting more into rapid response. Especially, I like the idea of coordinating with the other organizations in the area, because I really feel that we need to be ready for whatever comes and not waste time being knocked back by it. We need to have strategies, and we also can have some, sort of clandestine strategies as well. But it would really be comforting for people like myself, and I don't think I'm the only one, who have a real disturbance about this every single day, and would like to have some strategies for, okay, if this happens, how are we going to deal with it? Do we have some like network, or are we, what is it beyond like our email and our Facebook? What else is there?
I think we have time for one more question if there's one other person.
Hi, I'm Monica. I'm relatively new to Michigan. I moved here in January from the great, horrible state of Texas. So I have experienced a lot of these things. But one of the things I was thinking when Jane was speaking about her Latina friend, I turned around and I looked at our group, and we all look exactly the same. And no offense, no shade, no shame in that, but we need to somehow find a way to get the people who are actually going to be seriously impacted by these things in the room. Or because we can talk about rapid response, but if all of the Hispanics don't know that it exists or don't know that there are people to help them, how are we helping? So I have one suggestion, is that on Zoom, you can change the language of your closed captioning. So we could let Latinas know that our meetings are available to them via Zoom in Spanish. So you don't have to have someone here translating, but just really thinking, I would like to think about ways that we engage others, right? Like, this is a great group, and I am really proud of this group, and I love being a part of it. It's like the first thing I did when I got to town. So, but I think we really need to look beyond who's in this room and how we get those other people involved. That's just my feedback. And let's all just snap for some joy for a second. Woo! All right, thanks.
Thank you, Linda Javat, for being the runner, literally. And we're moving on now to actions we can take. And all of the things that have been suggested here, we'll be going back. This is recorded. We'll be going back and looking at them all very carefully, and making sure that we follow through on the things you've said. Thank you so much for this great feedback.
Yes. Ron is going to start. Ron is starting. Ron is going to start.
Hi, I'm Ron Collins, and this is.
Monica Blacker.
And what were you doing this afternoon?
Oh, I just literally got back from the Circle of Lake Michigan, like didn't even go home. My husband dropped me off in front of the church. So
Dedicated woman?
I was like, this isn't exactly how I would like to look in front of a group of people I don't know, but
We are co-chairs for the fundraising event that is starting July 15, but we're starting tonight, so it's a little bit of a jump start. And she helped me, we put it together. But first of all, I'd like to say that people have given in many different ways. And some people have time and they have talent and they have skills and they've offered it to us. There are some people who really don't have a lot of skills, but maybe they have some money, so they've given us some money. Some people have both, time financially, and here we are as a full group, but now's the time to talk about finances and starting a fundraising campaign. There are 3 different areas, 3 different action things that you could do tonight. Thank you. Why don't you take the first one, the grassroots?
Sure. Do we not want to tell them how much we're trying to raise?
I was going to say.
Oh, you're going to say that
you,
to the end?
You do it.
All right, because I like this part. So we're trying to raise $40,000, which covers the startup expenses plus another year's worth of budget. And I'm going to take this part where we have already
I
raised.
can sit down.
Okay, we have already raised $12,500 and some dollars. So we are well on our way to a fundraising campaign that hasn't even started yet. We've already raised about a third of the money. But we really want to have, obviously, we'd love if anyone wants to stroke a $40,000 check tonight, we're happy to take it. But we really want this to have a grassroots campaign component to it. So to encourage people to give any amount, $5, $10, $25, and also make the opportunity for them to give in a monthly contribution. Because for some people, giving $10 a month seems more palpable than writing a $120 check. And we can, raise all of the money that way with really just small donations. So we're really encouraging grassroots. It's going to, I think it's already on the website and will be in the social media in the upcoming days to encourage people that they can, just use their credit card and have $10 come out every month, $20, $30, give up to $360 all of a sudden. So.
And if I can add one more point there, some people might have 3 or 4 friends, play golf, I don't know, go to yoga together, right? So you might have 3 or 5 friends, you might approach them and say, hey, if I put in 50, will you put in 50? And all of a sudden you turned it into 250 and you've built some fabric in the community, you've brought it together, you told people about what we're doing. So that's one more way that the grassroots could be done. A second way, and it's an action that you can take right away, is we want to host 5 or 6 different events in someone's home where you would invite 5 to 12 people over. You provide the little hors d'oeuvres, the refreshments, you provide your home and the friends, and we'll come in with either the one of us will do a dog and pony show, or we might even ask the board members or someone to come in and really tell people what we're doing now and what our plans are in the future. Or the third way that you could take action is we have larger contributions that we've identified as gold, silver, and so forth. The first one is 5,000, and we're looking for 2 people to give the 5,000, and 1 person has stepped up and done that. We have 1 person who has committed to the $2,500 level, and 1 person has given the $1,500, plus grassroots has already started. So there's 3 different ways that you can help with the fundraising campaign. And if you want to open up your home and have some friends, she will be standing in the back and we can help you with that. What else? What did I miss?
I think that's it. We really appreciate everyone's support. I know everyone is giving a lot of time and we're asking for more from you, but it is really important, as we've all heard tonight, to make sure we've got the funds to effectuate this change. What do we say? Change for change,
Yeah.
right?
We do now. Change for change. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron and Monica. Okay, so immediate actions that you can take in addition to fund helping us with donations is there's a 5 Calls app that is very important, and it's very
Hi, my name's Ben.
to use. So we do have it on the website. There's a link for a little video that I'd like to show you. It's about 2 minutes long, so we're going to just take a quick minute to look at that, or 2 minutes to look at that. And then if you want help with the 5 apps call, or the 5 calls afterwards, I'm happy to help you too, or anybody in the back of the room can do that. So let's just look at this video for a second. Okay. Well, yeah, let's just skip it then. Yeah. It's on the website, so go look at it if you need help, but it's pretty simple to use. And it gives you a script and the numbers that you just click on it, and it takes you right to your representatives. Okay, in addition to some other little things, you could, if you wanted to support us, you can purchase, not actually purchase, but donate for a t-shirt. We have some at the back. I'm modeling one right now. We also have these 4x4 cards that if you guys would grab a stack and hand them out to people, leave them, punch them, put them on the bulletin boards where you see, get our word out there. And then from another meeting that we had attended, there was the idea that came out of trying to make it so that people cannot ignore issues. So we have these Post-it notes back there, and if you will do this, grab a stack and write a message on these Post-it notes, put them inside menus, put them in the bathroom, stick them on the mirrors, put them everywhere that you can think of. And it could be, you could get the messaging right from that 5 Calls app if you want to have an issue to and some copy, that would, if you want to educate yourself on these things. So those things are back there to do. And another idea was that people could take sidewalk chalk and start writing the messages on sidewalk, especially around the farmer's market, in front of the library, those kind of things. So that could be kind of a fun artistic thing to do. The other things that we have, I think we're going to go, can we go to the website on the events page, Erin? Yes, we do have stickers. I think they're all at Jane's house. We should have. Yeah. She loves stickers. Okay, so so if you go to our events page, Erin has put so many things up there. So we have the We the People talk, which John will be talking a little bit more about later. But the one that I wanted to talk about then that is coming up next is the Good Trouble, and that's July 17th. So that's coming right up. And we have our group is going to partner with the Holland Zealand group and try to make a big impact there. And then I know that Jan is doing a bridge protest here as well. So those 2 things will be happening on July 17th. And I think I'll turn it over to David now so he can tell you about some of these other things that are on our website. And then you're in. Is Carol here?
Yes, she is.
Oh.
Yeah, well, let's do this quick and then I'll
Yeah.
take it to Carol. Will do. Hi, I'm David. So here's the deal. If we were attacked from outside, if there really were weapons of mass destruction that we were told, that mobilized a country against a fake, all right? A fake threat. Right now, our threat is huge, and it's here. It's inside our country. It's really hard to fight your own damn country. And that's why so many people have chosen to take the safe road. The media, where are they? They've decided to play it safe because, well, who's going to win? Which side do they want to be on? How much money can they make in the process? And we're being sold out by all the institutions that we thought would protect us. Where's the courts? Some of them are holding good. Others are selling out. The Supreme Court, the ultimate justice here, is in on the game. It only leaves us. We're it. And that's the shitty, lousy thing about it. Because do we trust in ourselves? Do we believe in ourselves? Can we fill this church 20 times over? We got to. We don't have a choice. We got to do it. We got to do it tonight. We got to do it tomorrow. And I think that's what we got to be dedicated at. That's my wrap. There's no guilt in there. There's only, please, let's take it seriously. Let's pull together. Let's love each other and do enough. We had to take care of our brown brothers and sisters. That's the immediate threat. We've got to mobilize. We've got to help these people stay out of harm's way, which may mean putting our own bodies in the way. And if that's what we have to do, it's what we have to do, because there is no choice. The next time it's going to be you, it's going to be me. It's going to be me as a gay man. It's going to be someone else's. We're all in a minority of some sort. Get with the program. All right. Aaron, can you put up what I need you to put up for the No Kings? 1 million rising. All right. This is really important. Indivisible National Organization is sponsoring a training. It is 3 training sessions starting on the 16th of July, next week on Wednesday, and then every 2 weeks after that on Wednesday. 3 sessions. The third one is August 13, one night before our next monthly meeting, which is August 14. The idea is to get 1 million people trained, to train the trainer, to get people into nonviolent activity that is strategic non-cooperation. It's how we make a presence. It's how we make a difference. It may not be fun, but we'll make it fun. What we know is that we can't have a king. We can't have a queen. We can't have anybody telling us what to do. We got to source it from ourselves. All right, so please go online, indivisibles.org, and you can sign up for this. I'm signed up. I know people here that are signed up. We need to get our friends, everybody being at least 5 people. This is information. This is how we get empowered. If we don't get empowered, we're not going to move forward. If we can come back a month from now with that empowerment, who knows what's going to walk in the door, what ideas we'll have, but we'll be ready to take strategic action. And I pray that you'll do that. Thank you.
I wanted to mention that we have a safety minute that I'd like to, because of the July 17th events coming right up, and that's probably a good, this is a good moment to have Carol come up and give her safety minute for us. It's part of our safety group.
Hi. So I'm a member of the safety committee, and one of the things that we thought was important to work on was how to talk to someone who's aggressive or is getting up in your face. So I printed out some areas that we can cover. There's copies in the back if you don't have one. So de-escalation is not for handling people intent on disrupting or otherwise co-opting a peaceful demonstration. It's a technique for handling people who get upset, angry, or belligerent in the moment. The goal is to turn down the temperature so that nothing aggressive happens. The first thing you want to do is breathe, because you're going to be anxious and you're going to be excited and nervous. So you're going to stop and you're going to breathe. You're going to focus on taking slow, deep breaths before attempting an intervention. When you're approaching somebody, beware of body language. You want to be relaxed. You want to be in equal but not threatening position or posture, and you don't touch people that you don't know. You want to have a neutral face. That can be hard, but you need to have a neutral face. It's hard to engage with somebody when their face is being neutral. In terms of your voice, you want to use gentle and firm tones. You want to talk low and slow. Your volume should be lower than that of the aggressive individual. You don't point or shake fingers. Don't enter into a back and forth with the person. Ignore challenging questions. People are going to get up in your face. They're going to have all kinds of crazy things they want to say to you. Your job is not to engage with them and try to change their opinion. That's not going to work, and that's not what the goal of de-escalation is. You want to use active listening. Sometimes just listening to a person vent can diffuse a situation. Keep the focus on shared concerns. Talk about what we're for, not what we're against. They have the right to use their voice. If you're uncomfortable or you think you can't do a de-escalation, then don't do it. It's okay to walk away. Get somebody else that's comfortable using de-escalation. the things that I have printed out, the group can decide on how they want to disperse with those. If they want to have everybody have one, if they want to maybe have several people who are the de-escalation people, that's kind of up to the group. So that's what I got.
Hi, everybody. Hi, am I here? Good. So I'm going to talk about postcards, my passion. Tonight we have some new postcards. They're single ones that we are joining with the Indivisible groups across Heisinga's district to write, wishing him a happy retirement for voting for the big ugly bill. You can either write Bill what you think about him on your way out and leave it with me, and I will slip it under his door tomorrow at our weekly protest, or you can take it up with you and mail it by this coming Monday. That's the appetizer postcard. And tonight for the main course, I will be handing out packets of postcards with actual news headlines that we are sending to voters to combat disinformation and help them see how harmful the Trump agenda is for most Americans. These postcards need to be mailed on Friday, August 15th. I also have packets of Get Out and Vote postcards that don't have to be mailed until October. Each packet contains 25 postcards, 25 addresses, and detailed instructions, and takes 2 hours or less to complete. You can pick up one or more of either packet for me on your way out of the church. I'll be sitting back there at a table. Let's see. Also at the table back there, I have a dozen or so of beautiful protest signs that Lena Akima, sitting back here, made to give away to anybody who wants them. We would like you to use them at protests, and then if you've used that enough protests, you can take them home and hang them on your wall. They're really nice. If you'd like to write postcards with other people, we get together every second and fourth Wednesday from noon till 2 at Blue Star Barnes Coffee in Saugatuck. You can also stop by at those times and pick up packets to work on from home. Postcard stamp prices are going up on this Sunday, only a couple days from now. So remember that all postcard stamps are forever stamps, so it pays to stock up. We appreciate it if you buy your own stamps, but we don't want the cost to prevent you from writing. And whether you're writing your first packet or your 10th, as someone in this room has already done, let's see. I do have stamps to give out tonight to anyone who wants them. Or you can return your finished or unstamped postcards to me at Blue Star Barnes Coffee in Saugatuck during the dates and times I mentioned, which are on our website, and I will stamp and mail them for you. So thanks for all the postcards you've written so far, and thanks for the ones you're going to write. I was going to tell you how many, I think it's somewhere over 5,000 we've done so far since January, but I don't have exact numbers.
Well, the first thing I want to say is just wow. I am so blown away by everybody's ideas here tonight and so inspired. You know, I don't know about you, but every day I get up with a range of different emotions. Some anger, frustration, resentment, but mainly the most prominent is probably not feeling heard. And I thought a lot about that, and we've come up with an answer, and that is our open forums, We the People Talk. So please come and join us. What that is going to consist of is a group, whoever comes to wherever we're having the meeting, and you can express your ideas about any subject you want, and we're going to try to focus those into some sort of action. We're going to try to translate your ideas into process actions or issue-based actions. And the more people that come, the better, the more the cross-pollination of ideas. So I'm thinking about this in terms of being basically where the rubber meets the road. This is where you can actually come and we can put together something that we can submit to the steering committee and see if we can take some concrete action, because I'm hearing over and over again, everybody's demanding direct demand for direct action, and educational events and such. These are the kind of things that we're going to talk about, and these are the kind of things that we want to implement. Our next meeting is tomorrow at 10 to 11:30 at the Saugatuck Douglas Library. There'll also be another meeting there on July 25th. And then there's also going to be 2 meetings at the Blue Star Barn on July 15th and July 29th. And those are on the website in the events section. Thanks a lot.
So it's really clear that we're in this together. Every single person here, we're in this together. And the ideas you had were fantastic. We'll be taking notes on them. We'll be trying to be responsive to them. But I feel much less alone right now because of you, because we're here. Because when you want to make a difference, you show up, you stand up, and you speak up. And we've heard a lot of that from all of you tonight. I'm going to try to get as many people as I can to watch this Zoom because you all have been so fabulous. I think it's worth hearing. So thank you again for coming. We have some action items to take. If you're uncertain about how to get to a website or whatever, some of us will be standing back there. If you want to learn about how to do the 5 calls, if it's not on your phone yet, we'll be standing back there, and we're happy to help you get this linked onto your phone and to get ready to begin making some phone calls. Thank you again, and I will see you again soon. All the great events coming up. Thank you.